Stop the cap.
I'm going to have to sit down and watch the whole 3 hours. This is just a preliminary video. Captain Solo called me. We talked about it for a little bit. I actually pointed out a few things that he didn't pick up on, because I told him, I was like, I need to watch that shit. First off, I don't watch Cam Newton because I don't think Cam Newton is an intelligent person. I just don't. He's like the modern version of Ricky Williams. Like when Ricky Williams quit the NFL and he went off to be a beachcomber, and Cam he's just all over the place. It's not like I've ever listened to Cam Newton and went, ooh, bars. It's just no. It's not like who's like an unintentional guru. Like an unintentional guru would be like Mike Tyson, right? Like Mike Tyson, everybody was like, oh, Mike Tyson's this dumb boxer. Oh, we don't have to listen to Mike Tyson. And then when Mike Tyson retired and he's like on Joe Rogan, he starts saying all this profound shit. And you're just like, damn. You're like, I never really thought about it. Like he's like reflecting, like he's introspective. Cam is just arrogant. And, this part of Cam's problem is like, this is what happens when a lot of times, black men who are, athletes, sports professionals and whatnot, they get all this money at a very early age. It's like, the reason why like Diddy's getting locked up and all this shit, because, had money at a very young, millionaire at 19. Nobody can tell them shit. Right? Like they don't have a mentor. They don't have somebody to bounce ideas off. I mean, we already know about all the lack of mentorship that goes on with, young black men. And sometimes your own father, can't be your mentor because he just simply doesn't have any of the information, or he's not the sharpest tool in the drawer. Right? Like I'm talking about people with real wisdom that can guide young men where they can, bounce their ideas off of one another. I see that all the time, especially with a lot of these like, podcasts and, people like Cam. It's like clearly like you didn't test any of your theories, man. It's one of the things that, between Captain Solo and myself going back and forth, and, you know what I mean? Just running scenarios, running ideas, running concepts, past each other. Right. And there's other people, online that have other channels. Some of you know them by name. Right. That I've done the same thing with, and I promise you, there's a many of videos that did not go up because of behind the scenes debates, with other YouTubers like, look at it from this end of the prism. And it's like, damn, you're right. Shit. I'm glad I didn't post that, because that would have made me look like an asshole. You got to look at the shit from all different angles of the prism, and unfortunately, people don't do that. But I just don't see Cam as that bright. He's magical. He kind of irritates me like, Cry Reese Gibson, it's that typical, black people who grow up in the church. I know y'all hate when I rag on the church, but there's the magical thinking. It's so obvious when people start talking about like it, and this is what I hate about the spirituality, because it's not a freaking measurable. It takes on it's like water. It takes on the shape of whatever container you put it in. And when you get people who like to use game, all they do is they grab bits and pieces of spirituality or religion or whatever hotepetry, looking out your third eye type of shit, flip it around a couple of fucking ways, make it sound good, put sprinkles on it. You know what I mean? And there's so many people out here, simple-minded people out here that are like, oh my God, they look like a freaking Japanese anime character that's surprised and shit, with the eyes, with the fucking dewdrops in the eyes, glistening in the sunlight. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I know you're not moved by that, right? And they're just like, you have no soul. How can you not feel what is being said? And it's the same manipulative tactics that they use in commercials and propaganda. And it just blows my mind at how people eat the shit up. And you get these people and what's so crazy is like when people start, like they dish out like bullshit and they start to believe their own bullshit, or it's like bits and pieces of like these empty platitudes that people go around fucking saying. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Give me a fucking empty, an empty platitude. Like, what's some stupid saying that people will say? I can't think of one right now, but you know what I'm talking about. Just these stupid sayings that people will say, and the motherfucker will like run with it. Like it's like when you're trying to like when I talk about holding women accountable, which I'm gonna get to in a minute. But like when women are like, it takes two to tango. Yeah, but you have final say on determining whether the child comes into the world. You see how the empty platitude like didn't circumvent the point, right? So it just I hate when people do that, and the black community is so fucked up and so structureless, that black people try to replace structure with spirituality, and they try to replace it with all these sort of just all these like old wives tale type of sayings and shit like that are meaningless, and usually it's some person trying to get over like, whoa, they almost caught me, and I liked how Dr. Bryant, she brought him back. Like, no, let's not deflect. Let's keep it right here. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm like, dude, she got you. She got you. You see all that running game, all that like drunk beer alcohol talk, like the type of way you talk if you have a couple drinks at the bar and you're trying to like holler at a chick. All that shit don't work when you're sitting down in front of the fireplace and having a real conversation. But man, there's so much to cover, when it comes to this Cam Newton interview. Um, and I'm just going off of the clips I've seen. I watched a couple other people's interviews. I do have to watch the whole thing, so let me say that right now. But like I said, I already knew it's gonna be bullshit because I already Googled Cam a while ago, and I was like, nah, this motherfucker got 8 kids by 3 different women. I was like, conversation done. I'm like, end of discussion. And what I had to inform Captain So, I was like, this motherfucker came from a 2-parent intact home. The fuck are you doing? All the people that like to run up and be like, now Sergeant Williepete, just because the man comes from a 2-parent home, just because you come from a 2-parent home, that don't mean shit. I know people that come from 2-parent home and they all fucked up. Just completely ignoring the fact that there is a disproportionate amount of dysfunction from people who come from single parent homes, right? The job of being parents, it's a 2-person job. I don't care how you want to dice it up. But that's another thing, and it's a whole other conversation about how people are always trying to defend their position or where they are, and they just can't acknowledge or just simply say like, yeah, this is the right thing to do, or this is what we should be doing. Like, it's like a nigga in jail, what I mean, telling a young boy like, hey, don't do what I did, don't end up like me, stay in them books. You know what I mean? Like OG two-tone. You know what I mean? Like, stay in them books, stay in school. You know what I mean? Don't be out here gangbanging like me. Like, tell them the fucking truth. But nah, instead, you get people, see what they're trying to do, like Cam, they're trying to do whatever the fuck they want to do, and then they start trying to drag other people into co-signing them doing whatever the fuck they want to do. Like, I wanted to jump through the screen and put hands on Cam when Cam was talking about, what constitutes a intact home, or something to that effect. You know what I mean? It didn't even have his questions structured. I'm like, you're dealing with a woman that has her doctorate in psychology. You're not going to get around her, Cam. You might as well on top of the fact you don't have the capacity to get around her. You know what I mean? Someone like me, I might be able to get to navigate, this space, because like this is what I do, this is what I enjoy doing, right? But people that just, I'm just arrogant and Nobody has ever checked me because I'm a millionaire. And that's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother problem because, and this is the same issue. I think Pharrell just made a statement recently. Like, nobody asked you to give your political endorsement. Malcolm X warned about this shit. And all this crap. Oh, we got to defeat Donald Trump, and the Democrats got to defeat Donald Trump, and oh, we need your endorsement. Oh, we need Taylor Swift's endorsement. Oh, we need this rapper and entertainer and all entertainers. None of the intelligent people, no PhDs, no scholarly people. Nobody's asking Dr. Claude Anderson who he endorses. Nobody's asking, and I know he's gone, but people like Dr. Hendrik Clark or people like Amos Wilson, right? Nobody's asking the people that, like, this is what they do. We don't have any conversations anymore of, like, the most well-informed black people having panels and discussions. You get these celebrity bullshit ass, fake ass, grifting people like Teslin Figaro, on Revolt News. Like, where are the fucking PhDs? Where are the educated people? Where are the scholarly people that intelligently speak on these issues, like Dr. Julia Hari, and she, rest her soul, like, these type of people, right? The people that actually have wisdom, that have been in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll put even Ice Cube. I put Ice Cube on the table. He put together a contract with Black America, somebody that has a history of being about that business and trying to get shit done. Not any of these other fucking idiots, that go up there. I don't really know nothing about politics, but since I have 2 million followers, I'm going to give my opinion and sway all of them. We do not need these people in the conversation. This is the whole problem that Socrates had with democracy, because you got the fucking, it's a fucking popularity contest, and you got the demagogues and people that are not informed, that are swaying people's opinions, who are also not informed. It's just it's the dumbest shit ever. But the problem is we have a community where, like, when you look at those black and white videos, what's the brother's name? I keep getting his name wrong. Hazanki King, what's his name? The brother that gives us all the black documentaries on YouTube. Those old films, like, he pulling them from the Library of Congress or some shit like that, right? He's giving us all these old videos, the freaking the Vanishing Black Family in Newark and all that stuff. He's giving us all those documentaries. That brother, okay. When you look at those old videos, the people that are being interviewed are not celebrities. They're not just random people, they do interview random people off the street to get a sense of what people think. But when they have the real like conversations, the intelligent conversations, they're dealing with people who know what they're talking about, people who are in the field, people who are in the business, of action committees. And the problem in the black community is that the people who in any other time period in the black community, who would have been, the movers and the shakers in the community, the business owners, things like that, who would set the standard for the rest of the community, those people are, even if they exist, they're no longer visible anymore. And the people who are visible are people like Cam Newton, right? So all the people who are dysfunctional and have dysfunction going on, right? You got Neo talking about his polygamous relationship. You got fucking Nick Cannon. You got freaking, Future out there, even though Future doesn't do a whole bunch of talking. You got who else is out there? Obviously Cam, right? NBA Youngboy, freaking Country Wayne. You got all these people that are very visible and out there, and they got all these, kids all over the place. And then nobody says anything because, oh, well, they got resources. Those kids are taken care of. Still doesn't, like, there's two things going on. Number one, individually for them, none of them can be in more than one place. So the kids are going without, if you got multiple kids by multiple women, At some point in time, the kids are going without. And this was the whole point that I talked about before, in reference to Catherine Eden and some other research that I did about the reality of black men and fatherhood, where I think it's like 48% of black men, it's less than 50%. Like 48% of black men have kids by more than one woman. 59% of black fathers have kids by more than one. 48% of black fathers have kids by more than one woman, and then 59% of black women have kids by more than one woman, right? That's according to Cassandra Doria. She's the one that did the research. I don't know why she didn't do research on both genders simultaneously so that we could get that snapshot, but these are the best estimations that I have. So I'm saying the fathers that when it comes to not the extreme scenarios like Cam Newton, when it comes to your that almost half of black men that, and it may not be half, it may be less than that, but that's my guesstimate. Okay. But if half of black men that are fathers that have kids by more than one woman, usually it's only like them and another. They got the first child that they had with the young woman, or with a young woman. That relationship didn't work out because they were both young, and then both parties end up linking up later on with somebody else. And when it comes to black fathers, the first child that they're not with the baby mama, that's the child that ends up with the deadbeat dad story. The other child, the child that the man actually lived with, all they know is a loving father. And this isn't talked about enough. So there's one kid that's out there, daddy ain't there, they don't see daddy. And then there's the other kid that is, dad's in the house, reading bedtime stories, Christmas, all that stuff. But because that guy's not with the baby mama, or got issues with the baby mama or whatever, or the baby mama went off and now she's with another dude, you know what I mean? Then if that dude does not take on the fatherly role, then that child is just obviously asked out of having the experience of having a father. And I'm saying all that to say that we have to understand the difference between these extreme scenarios like Cam Newton and what's really going on, in the community. Okay? Because again, 54% of black men do not have kids. 61% of black women, 54% of black men will never have kids. That's the never population. 61% of black women are, mothers. Okay? And then you have 39% that have never had kids, of women that will never have kids. And then you have the 46% of black men that are fathers. Those numbers are important because everybody either keeps leaving them out, or they keep talking, and Dr. Bryant kind of did this. They talk like it's a 1-to-1 ratio of black men that are mothers and fathers, and that irritates me to the core. Okay? And Cam's situation itself highlights that fact. So while Dr. Bryant went up there and said, oh, well, and this is, you're creating broken homes and we got to have this discussion with black men. No, Dr. Bryant. We need to have this discussion with black women because, again, and this is why you got there's 13.4 million black mothers and there's only freaking 9.2 million black fathers, because you have the other scenarios where you have the men that have more than one woman, and then you got the extreme scenarios where you got women lined up to get with dudes like Cam. And I've already talked about this before, talked about it when talking about Future. Okay? This is not a matter of Cam is causing this. Cam is creating this. As Dr. Bryant said in the interview, this is an exchange, right? These women are trying to get the bag. These women are lined up at Cam's door. It's not just Cam is going out there being the super predator. No, these women are lined up at the door because they're trying to get the bag. They want the bag, they want the baby, and they want none of the patriarchy. Individuals like Cam Newton or a Rich Pookie or guys like Future are the perfect black man to get with. Why? Because of what I just said. They get the bag, they get the baby, and they get none of the patriarchy. Future has 8 children, and Future and at least Cam has them all underneath one roof. But when it comes to Future, freaking, he can only spend, 1/8 of his time anywhere he goes. 1/8 of the time. And I talked about this in a previous video. I just need to cover all of this because I know that people are going to click on this video just because I'm talking about this damn topic, and they're not going to click on the other video. So they need to get the full, picture here. Okay. A lot of black women do not want, we've heard it a million times, they don't want to deal with the patriarchy, they don't want to deal with male leadership, they don't want to deal with it. So how do you not deal with it? Oh, you got babies. Oh, you got other responsibilities. Your time is tied up because you're running around juggling, trying to be a father, and that's if you're involved. But if you are involved, good, because I want to get the baby. I want to get my $30,000 a month in child support that aren't obviously isn't all going to the child, and then I'm going to run off and be happy. And the fucked up thing with the whole Cam thing, like one of the things that Cam doesn't consider, and any of these guys that do this bullshit, this is something I'd point out to Captain Solo, which is like, what's really stupid about the situation? Because, and this ties back to, the whole Cam coming from a 2-parent home and, Dr. Bryant not coming from a 2-parent home, which makes it even worse. Because, and I'm going to get to the whole childless people shutting down people who have kids. But the thing is Cam came from a 2-parent home and his children are now, basically in broken homes because they don't have 2 parents in the home. And you know what's so crazy about these women that get with guys like Cam because they want the bag and then they go off and they do whatever the fuck they want to do? Like, first off, what happens when those women, because let's face it, they're not going to go off, oh, I had Cam's baby, and then I'm just not going to be intimate for the rest of my life. Right? So, and this is a point that I made a long time ago, in the importance of, the importance of making sure that your kids only come from one woman. Because for me, right, I hear what other guys are saying. I didn't have to go through that. I was fortunate enough. I only know of one dick that's been in my mother, and that's my biological father. I don't know what it psychologically does to a young man to know that you had some other dude other than your biological father that's been inside your mother. I don't know what that does to a young black man. I'm sure it's fucked up. Cap knows. Cap witnessed, 4 different men that were inside of his mother, right? Was it 4 different men? Right? Because she was married. No, 3 different men, I think. 3 different men inside of his mother. Second husband, shot her with a .38 revolver and she survived, right? So he had to deal with all the psychological bullshit, from all of that. But the other thing when it comes to, the whole split household thing is, I remember what I was going to say. So Dr. Bryant came from a broken home and she's saying to Cam that he's not good enough. You have kids, you're done. You're the whole high value, low functioning thing. And oh man, are the dusty black men running with that? See, again, here we go with the, now everybody's going to be running around the internet. Every dude that barely has 2 nickels to rub together is going to be running around being like, yeah, see, and Dr. Brian said that, just see, money ain't everything. Just because you got money, that doesn't mean that you a high value dude, because you might be low functioning, right? And so they're going to run with that and then try to claim that, their character is above all. That's why, I cringed, at her, talk. I got the point. I got it. Woman with money. She's like, okay, this dude serves this purpose. To me, it's role reversal. I know that's not the topic of the conversation, but that shit is cringe. Um, but it needs to be said. It needs to be shut down when it comes to people with kids. Cam did not like the fact that, like, think about it like this. Here you got a man that came from a two-parent home, okay? Two-parent home. And he created this broken home situation. I don't even know how his parents feel about the shit. And here you got a woman that came from a broken home, and she doesn't want that for herself. You see? And then she's saying, and I had to have a special conversation with Cap about this, because Cap is anti-arrogance. He's anti people feeling superior. You know what I mean? But I've had to explain and kind of teach him how that arrogance and how that superiority complex, when you do come from a solid background, it keeps you out of a lot of bullshit because you think you're above it. Okay. This was the same conversation I had with Humble Queen when she was like, my son's not going to turn out self-hating like you, SWP. And I was like, how is your son going to feel like he's connected to the community when you took him out of the environment? There's no way for him not to feel that he's superior than to the environment that you took him out of, because you felt that he was too good for that environment and you didn't want him to be affected by the negative things that are in that environment that he can only guess as to what they are, even though the details as his mother, right? There's no way when your parents take you out of a situation because they don't want you in there, there's no way to not have somewhat of a superiority complex to that. And the thing is this: the shit has gotten out of control so much in the black community, and black people are so anti. You ain't no better than me. It's kind of like a hangover from slavery. You ain't no better than me. You ain't no better than me. You a nigga like me. You a slave like me. Right? Black people don't like hierarchies because hierarchies are directly tied to the system of white supremacy. So we're anti-hierarchies, right? We're anti-levels, especially when it comes to, other black people. But it's necessary. It's necessary to literally, because think about it. You got all the people that have made fucked up decisions. Some of it, not all of their fault. Some of it, they just made a unilateral decision and they fucked up. But you got people who made fucked up decisions and they're trying to equalize. And she addressed this, but she didn't say it like this, but equalizing their bad decisions to other people who have made the quote unquote right decision. And what's so funny with these people who made bad decisions, it's like you got all these parents on these pop balloon shows, right? And they get mad when childless people basically feel or say or verbalize that they're better than the parents. But notice how the parents don't want to deal with other parents. How does that work? How does that work? How do you get to disqualify another parent as a parent, right? But then you get mad when a childless person disqualifies you. You don't know what I got going on. You don't know what I got going on. Just dumb shit. Just dumb shit. Cam literally sounded like the typical black woman, that we hear online. Literally, the typical single mother. Let me be specific. The typical single mother that we hear online. Okay, because it's a mother problem in the black community. It's not a father problem. 54% of black men don't have kids. It's not a father problem. It's a mother problem because we have too many mothers. This is why all these conversations are always, everybody's walking on eggshells, tippy-toeing around because we don't want to offend the mothers. We don't want to offend the mothers because they're mothers. No. Childless men and even childless women, they should be unapologetic about their standards and how they want to conduct their lives. And there's too much of not only do we have too much dysfunction in the black community, but we also have idiots that have millions of dollars that, get to be, elevated, right? and then they're engaged in dysfunction, and everybody sees that, and so all the dysfunction is normalized. And at this point, like, there's really no base to set a standard. This is why, like, every time black people try to set a standard, people go, "Oh, that's Eurocentric. You're trying to be like the white people." They always say some dumb shit like that. So basically, it's going to like, your standards are going to have to be self-actualized. Yeah. I hear what you're saying, but that's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for me. And Cam's literally sat there like a woman who's never been told no. When Dr. Bryant said, you know what I mean, I'm not interested in dating a man with children. You know what I mean? Like he had like a physical reaction and shit. Like, he literally, like, his eyes fluttered, and I'm like, oh my God, dude. I'm like, you haven't been told no in a long time. You walk in the room, hey, I'm Cam Newton. I got 8 kids. You want to be number 9? And a lot of the women is, stupid enough to be like, oh yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Or she, not number 9, not woman number 9. You want to be woman number 4? Right? I'm thinking about future. Right? You want to be woman number 4? And the reality is, those women are making a conscious decision. They're not victims. These women, they see a motherfucker with a bunch of kids, and they're like, "Oh, yes, please, may I have some more? Give me some of that. Give me some of that." You got women out here preying on dudes. That's what everybody bitching about, the Brittany Reynolds and the Drea chick and all this other shit, even though they're not black women, but just preying on, young boys. I know there's a bunch of other ones that I can't name because I don't be paying attention to shit like that, but y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Trying to get the bag. Overlooking a whole bunch of character flaws and everything else, because their goal is to get the bag, because they know that they're set. Their biological clock is ticking. Their time is running out. They're about to hit the wall. They're like, oh no, I need to have this baby now and have them checks coming in. I'm dead serious. That whole, like y'all really need to understand that whole conversation about women maintaining their autonomy. And I hate to use a white woman, but that video that Leisha Miller did addressing JD Vance, that just really drives it home. You know what I mean? Because that's a universal sentiment. It doesn't just apply to, black feminists. It applies to all feminists. They want their goddamn autonomy. Give me the money. Let me not deal with the reason. Again, Aisha K. Faines. Read her website. Just her website's still up. Just type in Aisha K. Faines, Women Love Power, and go read through that shit. Okay? The goal, who was the person that she was inspired by? Coco Chanel. Get with a rich man, get the bag, divorce the motherfucker, then go off and run off and do whatever the hell you want to do. Use your beauty and your femininity to your advantage, right? Drop it like it's hot on the dude. He busting all type of nuts all up in you and everything. Oh, it feels so good. Oh, then you get the baby, and then you roll the fuck out. Pick fights with him or whatever. You roll out. And that's literally what's going on. But for every Cam Newton that exists, however many women he sleeps with, you have, by a factor of X number of women. Black men will never, y'all don't want to sleep with every black man. You only want the top 10% of dudes. Black men will never, ever, as a collective, ever be able to catch up to the reproductive success of black women. Never. I mean, by and large, for any group of men, the men never catch up to the women, because it's only a minority of men that get to freaking procreate. This is why the conversation about single mothers in the black communities is not a black male conversation. It is a black female conversation, especially when you tack on the freaking, what are they saying? what is it? Damn, why am I going blank? Freaking my body, what do they say? Damn, why am I going blank? My body, my choice. I'm having like a brain fart. My body, my choice, right? That's why they say that shit. And what's so crazy is they want to have the power to make the decision, but they don't want to have the responsibility that comes along with it in making unilateral decisions. But like honestly, I feel like there should have been a man up there, a childless, middle-aged man, like someone like myself, to shut that shit down because she was being nice. And honestly, I'm sick of the black men who do engage in this behavior getting away with the bullshit. I'm sick. I'm sick of these dads getting away with this shit, talking about, oh, I want to have action, I want to make more babies, I'm sick of these motherfuckers. Sick and tired of that shit. We got a fucked up, broken black community, and they're talking like that. And again, she was being nice. I'm like, nah, you need to hear it from a dude. You need to hear it from a dude to get all up in your ass about the shit that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So the dudes need to check the dudes on the shit, and the women need to check the women. Right? But the problem is, let's paint the picture. How does any dude check another dude about the women he's fucking and impregnating them if the women are lined up around the block? What type of hater do you look like sitting there telling a dude about how, it's one thing when the dude's like, I'm going to do this, I'm plotting on it, this is what I'm trying to do, right? Versus when literally mid argument with the dude that you're trying to check, some woman walks up, drops her drawers, and tries to sit on his cock. You know what I mean? And you just like, oh my God. And then the women turn around and start talking about the community and deadbeat dads and fathers not being in the home. And then I'm like, chick, I was literally in the middle of checking this dude. And then here you come, and then you now you sitting on it. You got to be kidding me. Right? Because already, just right off top, right off the rip, like I said, for every cam, like every cam situation, right? That's one dude and three women. With Future, that's one dude and I believe it's 8 or 9 women, right? Country Wayne, I don't know how many he has. NBA Youngboy, I think he's got 10. One dude versus 10 women. There's no way for dudes to catch up. There's no way for it to be a 1-to-1 ratio when it comes to the number of. That's 10 women, boom, off the market. Cam Newton, that's 3 women, boom, off the market. Future, that's 8 women, boom, off the market. Again, the shortage is not in the childless black men. The shortage is in childless black women. And it's crazy to sit there and have a woman from the 39%, the smallest population in the black community, shut Cam Newton down. There's a beauty in her being, childless. And that's another thing. Like, I see this bullshit about, oh, she's 41 and she's not married, and that doesn't change what was said. Oh, she's a dating coach and she's single and it doesn't change what was said. I don't know why people do this shit. I don't know why they think that flies. That doesn't mean anything. She can set whatever standards she wants to set for herself. I will not date a man who has kids. Period. End of discussion. Like she said, I might go on a couple days. You know what I mean? I might, she might even, drop it like it's hot, but she's not going to have a baby by you. And it seems to be this population of men that they don't like that. They can't seem to accept that. There's women as well, but I'm talking about the dudes right now. But these parents, man, they do not like the idea of being told no. I remember Captain Solo was telling me about, like, one time he was on the train in New York, and there was a dude, he was like in his construction company, and he was a young guy. I think the guy had 6 kids. He had 6 kids, and I think the reason he had 6 is I don't know whether he had by 2 different women, or whether I think he got hit with like twins or like triplets or some shit like that. And that that happens. Like you could be out here, and I mean that would be crazy, right? You out here, and you childless one day, and then your wife has triplets. Like, god damn. I think the state helps you with, like, when that happens, because that's like a financial burden that's completely unexpected. Like, how are you you got to buy 3 of everything? Wow. Like the amount of the cost on that is just astronomical. But anyway, the guy on the cat was on the train, and the guy saw his sister. He tried to holler at her, and she was interested at first. And then, they got to talking about, what their situations were. The woman was single and she was childless. And then the guy said, I got 6 kids. And she was like, oh, she was like 6. She was like, that's a bit much. She said, nah, brother, that's all right. And then, and then she even like kept acknowledging that she was like, I could have dealt with at least, you just having 1, but 6, she was like, nah, you ain't got nothing for me. And this is where the phrase, you don't know what I got going on. You don't know what I got. And then Cap got pissed, and he intervened and shut that shit down. And him and the other dude were about to go to blows. He's like, man, I think you got enough. Cap basically said, man, I think you got enough on your plate. I think you have enough on your plate that you don't need to be running out here trying to look for new pussy when you got 6 mouths to feed. I mean, just get the fuck out of here. Honestly, this shit keeps going on, and I'm saying maybe that's just my wishful thinking, but I'm like, man, I feel like this shit's about to get to blows, man, because y'all parents that are out here just reckless on some cam shit, not those of you who are being parents and active, and and you're with your spouse and all that shit. No, I'm talking about the motherfuckers out here that are on some cam shit. Like, nah, y'all motherfuckers ain't used to being checked. You're not used to anybody challenging you. And the sad part is the community really doesn't know. Like, we so don't like standards. We so don't like the concept of judging people. It's a hangover from white supremacy. It's a hangover from white supremacy. I know people don't like when I say that, because they're like, you think everything is a hangover from white supremacy. And yeah, I sure as hell do. I sure as hell do. Because there's a lot of extra shit that we do that, we take shit too far. It's just over the top. You don't see this in any other community. But with us, it's over the top. And we really got a problem. And misery loves company is a little bit of that. And then there's a little bit of the, people don't want to indict themselves, right? So they say, they're not going to co-sign because, oh, well, I got situations similar to that. So, yeah, it is okay. Like, it's like, oh my God, man. And this is what we tell young people. This is what we tell, the next generation. You know what I mean? And then people get jammed up. And then people, oh, well, see, well, you can't talk no shit now because now you're in the same boat as me. Like, just some evil fucking bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Some shit that, the person, somebody need to put hands on them. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I am going to go back. I'm going to watch the whole thing with fine tune code, not just these clips, not just conversations I had with Captain Solo, because we walked through it. I already knew. I'm like, I don't know why anybody's surprised. It's not a matchup. Cam looked like the fucking Black Mad Hatter. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know where anybody thought that you were going to get some some type of wisdom. Like he got the goofy glasses on. You know what I mean? He's always like when he first came out, you know what I mean? Like I thought he was like a clean cut motherfucker like Reggie Bush. I remember when all the women, I mean, they were creaming over Cam Newton. I dated women that would have swiftly left me and went and sat on Cam Newton's face. Okay, I remember Cam Newton's name being dropped when he first, came out. Constantly. It was between Cam Newton and Reggie Bush, and I think the vote went to Cam Newton. But then he just went on to just other shit, and really it's just coming into that type of money, being able to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Nobody can fucking check you. You know what I mean? Nobody and that's the whole another problem when you get these people that they're millionaires and they're rich and they get surrounded by a whole bunch of yes men, a whole bunch of people that are trying to get the bag. They're never going to disagree with you. I couldn't be around those type of people. Even if I had millions of dollars, I wouldn't want to be, I'd be like, I'd just go sit on the couch. I'm like, all right, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, don't sit there and not tell me because, like, I literally have friends that keep me around for that reason. There's women that keep me around, just like, they're like, I'm like, I want to know what your opinion is. What is your opinion on this? Right? Because they know that I go straight shot, no chaser. They know that. They know I'm going to give them what they need to hear that's going to motivate them to make the change that they need to make. I'm not just going to sit there and give them a whole bunch of spiritual empty platitudes. And I'm also not going to go just sit there and gas their heads up, to where, they're out there thinking they're invincible when they're not. I'm not doing that. I've never been that type of person. I don't have that type of personality. I disagree. I am the, in World War Z, I am the 10th man. My job here is to disagree. I'm not here to disagree to be disagreeable, but I'm saying I'm not just going to blindly co-sign you and tell you, oh, everything you're doing is wonderful and it's just so great. Oh, can I get X amount of dollars? Like, no. What is the point of that type of friendship? That's not a friendship. You lost your friends. Your friends are gone. Friends tell you when your zipper's down. You know what I mean? So, again, the people that are closest to me, like, they want honesty, they come to me. I'm like, I ain't gonna sugarcoat you. I've had so many times, I'm like, man, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I'm telling you like it is. That's why I called you. I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, man, I'm not doing that. Because otherwise, you get into, I was watching a video clip of John Cena, and he was talking about how he keeps this pocket watch in his, it's like it's a pocket watch with the chain on it, like he's a damn train conductor. And he said, basically, it says one thing on one side and another thing on the other. And I forget what it says, but basically it says that it basically reminds him when his head gets too big, right, to like come back down to earth. And then on the other side, when he feels like that he's not good enough, you know what I mean? It encourages him and, basically lets him know that he is enough, right? Because he said he had like insecurities and shit like that, that he had, which, you would think somebody like John Cena wouldn't have, but he's a person, he's a human being. We're all human beings, right? So, it's like you gotta keep you. I mean, you don't have to keep a whole bunch of people around you that are just going to badger you, but I mean, you gotta keep a few people who that are in your corner. You gotta keep them to keep you fucking grounded. I actually had one person in particular that is extremely successful right now. They literally told me, like right before they walked through the door of super success, they literally said, I need you to keep me motherfucking grounded because shit is about to pop off. It's about to blow up and I don't know that I can handle it. I need you to keep me fucking grounded, I think I've done a pretty good job of that. We still converse and we still talk, but yeah, man, Cam with his shit, it's a bad look. I see the women in the comments saying, yeah, this is black man. Shut the fuck up. There's 3 of you bitches to 1 of him. Just talking about his baby mamas. Y'all be lined up for dudes like this. This is what we've been saying about black women only want the top 10, 20% of men. This is what we've been saying. So when you go to these extreme, especially, and again, you're definitely not going to win with the extreme. You be better off with the regular scenarios where a dude has one other baby mama. Those are the scenarios where you could actually mount an argument. You can't mount an argument with a dude that's got 10 baby mamas. What the fuck was woman 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 thinking? They didn't go in there blind. They didn't go in there without intentions. They went in there looking for a damn bag and the baby and not having to deal with patriarchy because they want to maintain their fucking autonomy. And if a dude's got kids all over the world, well, guess what? You got 8 kids. Well, I only have to deal with your ass 1/8 of the time. Beautiful. And then the rest of the time it's going to be, I'm going to go out there and, freaking buy shit I want and everything. And I got ahead of myself because one of the things that I wanted to bring up about having dudes having children having to grow up knowing another dick has been inside their mom. The fucked up part is, like I said, what happens when these women, I just can't see them just saying, oh, well, none of my baby mamas live with me. All my children live underneath this roof. Okay, so they're out there. So eventually they're going to get to a point where they're going to look for companionship in other people. And they're going to be fucking somebody else. And you're paying $30,000 a month or whatever the fuck it is. And so she's in a house that you're paying for, or in a location you're paying for. And then one of your baby mamas, this is the stupidest shit in the world. I mean, Islam has a better way of dealing with this than what African Americans do. This shit is just trash. You know what I mean? And here comes the Muslims. See, Pete, I told you, Allahu Akbar. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, really? Okay, but anyway, I'm saying, like, just think about that. Like, for the guys that are like, yeah, man, I'm gonna spread my seed all over the place. And let's just say you had the money and you were paying for the shit. Okay, she's taking that money, and we all know it's not all going to the child. And then she's using that money to be in a apartment or condo or house that fucking with a dude that can't afford any of the lifestyle that's being provided for her that's coming out of your pocket, right? And then not only that, your kids have to witness that. The kids that you had with her, they got to witness that. Again, new dicks up in mom. Like, does anybody understand the amount of dysfunction that is going on here? You know what I mean? At best, if you were going to make it work, if you were really going to make it work, and this was so stupid because they don't even have the sense enough to do this. If you were really going to make it work, then become Muslim and marry multiple wives, and all those kids will be underneath one roof, and that's how you function. I don't think that that's dysfunctional. I'm not advocating for it, but I'm saying I don't think that that's dysfunctional. First off, that happened, in the Middle East because primarily, Islam was at war with everybody in its expansion of Islam, and a lot of men died, and there were a lot of women left over. So instead of letting the women just, die to the elements, perish to the elements, yes, take on my best friend doesn't have a husband and there's not enough men go around in this village. Marry my best friend, and they went off and did that. But I'm like, the African American community don't even have sense enough to do that. And I'm not even against the African American community doing that because I think that's way better than what Cam is doing or what Future is doing or NBA Youngboy or any of these other individuals that got kids all over the place. But I already know that that's not something black women are trying to. I see all the polyamorous bullshit. You know what I mean? I see it all going on and whatnot. But I just think it's just people trying to justify, having these orgies or whatever. and it's not within the confines of marriage, and there's no structure to it. Black people are so anti-structure that they're dysfunctional. They're so push the envelope back harder, push it back harder. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, it's like the tabs on, like, you ever see those shitty ass gun cases you get? Oh, I'm talking about guns. Y'all don't know about guns. But anyway, you get these shitty ass gun cases, and they got this little plastic flappy thing that, like, you flips down and it locks in place. Yeah, if you use that a couple times, the plastic wears out and it breaks off. And it's kind of like how I see black people and how they operate. I'm like just there's just no structure. I'm like, eventually what you're doing is going to break, and we're beyond the broken point. Everybody's trying to normalize bullshit. I'm glad to see, let me say this. I'm glad to see that most of the comments, they're like, nah, Cam, I'm glad to see that black people, even though this is how I look at black people, African Americans specifically, we like to do whatever the fuck we want to do as a people. However, there's still a lot of us, which is a good thing, that we don't like certain things to be advocated for publicly, even though that's exactly what we're doing, right? We're literally doing all the bullshit. It's literally going on. You know what I mean? But we don't like people to get up on a microphone and be like, this is the way. It's like, if you're going to do it, do it. But to get up on a microphone and be like, it is the way. Like, a lot of black people got a problem with that. A lot of us have a problem. It's like, damn, and then, I mean, obviously a lot of that includes the religious people. They're always going to come through and talk about white Jesus and God and what the Bible says. And that's why civilization is collapsing. They're always going to come through, with that bullshit. I'm like, no, civilization is collapsing because this society doesn't believe in keeping men gainfully employed, or even attempting to keep men gainfully employed. And it wants to, support feminism and women making money, where women only want to date up. So then men have to make whatever she's making times a factor of X in order for the relationship to work. But then the women don't like the men to be ahead because that's too much the patriarchy that feminism fought against. So, it's just this circular argument of, women wanting hypergamous equality where there's no such thing. It's nonsense. But I might come back to this, but I don't think it's going to change my mind. I'm like, here you got a man with 8 kids, sitting up there trying to talk about, like I said, I was about to jump through the damn screen, with him sitting up there talking about what constitutes a family. Bitch, if motherfucker, you came from a two-parent. See, I won't tolerate that type of stupidity. Motherfucker, what constitutes that? Nah, see, you just a motherfucker that wants to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. And you're trying to find ways to rationalize it, and you expect everybody to be okay with it because you got money. You got millions. And unfortunately for the black community, we don't have any black people that are making, or we just don't see them. We don't have any well-to-do black people that are visible, popular, people want to be like them, that are making money legitimately, that people look at and they aspire to want to be like. We don't have that. All we got is a bunch of fucking celebrities and athletes that are not scholarly people, and somehow, some way, everybody just shoved a microphone in their face. You know what I mean? And they're not. It's like damn, I don't know. I kind of wish to go back to the days of, I don't know, there was a space of actual intellectual people. I know there's a whole bunch of people making responses, but it's like, damn, why and how did these people get so big? How did that happen? You know what I mean? Everybody's like, they don't like what's being said, I get it. Maybe the smart people are boring. They're not entertaining, right? Because there's people who put out content that's like intelligent and shit like that. But y'all don't watch them. Y'all don't seek them out. There's only a handful of people that black people will that talk some real shit that black people will follow. Dr. Claude Anderson is one of them. Ice Cube is another one, but I feel like he doesn't get as much like traction or pull as he should. Everybody tuned in when he had that debate with Vivica A. Fox and Claudia Jordan. Everybody, everybody paid attention, but a lot of people don't know about Ice Cube's activism. He's been he's been activist, since fucking the 90s, since what's that song called? It's one of my favorite Ice Cube songs. What's this? Tear This Motherfucker Up, the one he did after the Rodney King beating. You know what I mean? Like that's my shit. YouTube has it censored. That's my motherfucking shit. Everything he says in that song, that's my shit. And especially the person that did the video on YouTube that uploaded it with got the actual the riots in the background. That video is fire. I mean, I just love it. But anyway, let me think if there's anything else I want to touch on. Is it really not? I did get irritated at her talking about, the black men and it was because the broken community. It's not black men running around spreading their seed all over the place. This is a minority of men that are engaging in this behavior. Again, 30% of black men are married. And yes, I know married men can have kids by multiple women as well. But I'm saying when you cut out the ones that are married, that are, only had kids by one woman, you're not left with a whole lot. You're left with a minority of a minority. 54% of black men don't have kids and will never have kids. It's just what it is, either by choice or due to, not being attractive, not being funny and entertaining, charismatic, broke. You can just go through the list. But yeah, I'm pretty much done with this video. The internet is giving Cam. They just giving Cam the work. 8 kids, 3 different women. That's just messy. There's no other. And that's another thing. Like for him then to have the audacity to not realize how messy what you're actually doing is insane. That's insane. How do you not know? You know what I mean? It's like I'm not going to say whose name it was, but it was like, the dude, like when talking about men and money and everything, and you get dudes that like they in relationships with a woman makes substantially more money and they get real quiet on the mic, and I'm like, oh, man, why are you in this conversation? It's going to make you feel some type of way. You should have known that this is not cool. You're going to feel some type of way. And then they sit there and they feel some type of way and then they get up and they walk off screen because they, at least at the time, they didn't have much to contribute to the conversation. I'm like, oh, God, I hate seeing that. I hate seeing it. That's why we say, motherfuckers, get your shit together. I don't care what feminists say. As James Sexton said, the lawyer that did the whole thing about divorces and the soft white underbelly, he's like, look, yeah, it's funny, yeah. The women are all feminism until you tell them that they got to pay alimony. Then all of a sudden, now they want to go to be Susie Homemaker and talk. He's got a strong back. It's just the way it is. And it's that way. I shouldn't say it's just the way it is. It's that way, because women want to date hypergamously and men build and maintain the physical infrastructure of society, and it's too much work, and men are not going to do it without being in control. But in order to be in control, you got to be in, a position of power. And right now we got all this battle going on between power dynamics, with the men and women, when it comes to resources, because now women, they can acquire their own resources. But even with their own resources, they still what? Want to date up. They still what? Want to engage in hypergamy. So now the woman making $80,000, she only wants to date a man making $120,000 at least. Right? All the men making $50,000 and $60,000, they're beneath me. Black people, black community, and I need to end this video, but the black community is really uncomfortable with talking about money. We're really uncomfortable, and maybe it's because obviously as a collective we don't have it. We don't have businesses. We don't control the means of production. We don't control markets. We don't control sectors. Right? If I say the last name Patel, you say hotel. If I say the last name, I don't know, some Sikh name, you know what I mean? You say gas stations, right? Bodegas, right? If I say Dominican, you say bodega, right? If I say Arab, you say smoke shop, hookah shop, right? If I say Vietnamese, you say nail salon, right? That's what you say. But with black people, at best, the barber shop and, Ebenezer's Baptist Church on the side of the road to Jericho. Like that's it. That's all we got. So yeah, I mean that's the reason why we don't like having conversations about money. And it is about black men getting their money up. But anyway, I'm done with this, with the pure fuckery of the black community. I'm glad Dr. Bryant checked him. But more conversations are going to have to be had with women that engage in these type of dynamics. Yes, it's selfish for Cam to, have the kids the way that he had the kids, but it's also selfish for those women to bring the kids into the world underneath those circumstances, knowing that this man, is just a hot mess. A hot mess. And this is what I was talking about in my other video when I'm like, yeah, and then when the kids are all dysfunctional and you got 16-year-olds waving guns in your face, not talking about Cam and his kids, I'm talking about the other dudes out here that have similar situations to Cam. When those kids are all out here, I'm like, and the women, and you got black women disproportionately mothers because they're out here having babies 2-to-1, 3-to-1, whatever it is, to black men. I'm like, think about it, like they're having the women are having the kids with the men 3-to-1, and then usually the kids are going to outnumber the parents. They're going to outnumber those three women. So you're creating exponentially, you're creating a higher number of dysfunctional households than two-parent households. Two-parent households tend to have kids conservatively, right? They just meet the replacement rate. They have two kids, I think it's like 2.1 kids or something like that, and then they're done. But then you got Jamal and Keisha. Jamal and Keisha have two kids, and then they break up, and then Jamal goes in another direction. He gets another chick pregnant. They have two more kids, and then, Keisha goes in another direction. She has three more kids with another dude. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, intact black family members, intact black household. How many kids do you have? 2. But yet the other 2 people that have branched out, you know what I mean? They've already produced, what did I say? 2. So 2, 4, and then 3, 7. So that's 7 kids to the 2 by the intact home, based on 2 people who got together, split, then met 2 other people, and then had another set of 2 kids. 2, and then one had 3 kids. Or you can make it 2 and 2. Whatever you want to do. I'm saying when you break down that tree, the single parent homes grow exponentially compared to the 2-parent homes, because they're having way more kids. For some strange reason, every new relationship has to constitute more kids. Because, again, as Catherine Eden said, it's not a bond. Marriage is just an abstraction. It's just a piece of paper. But us having these kids together, that's meaningful. That means something. So they go off and then they have the kids. And this is how you have, Jaquarius Jones and DeMarcus and Latrell and Tyrone and freaking, Tanisha, and give me another name, a Genesia, and this is how you got all them, and then you're like, wait a minute, all y'all siblings? Yeah, but I mean, well, this is my full brother, that's my half sister, this is my other half sister, and then I'm not related to that. That's her. That's my half sister's brother from another father. So I'm not related to them, but they my brother nonetheless. Like, nigga, huh? That's black folks for you. That's our shit. That's our shit, right? And I'm not saying it like it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. And then when you get into, I mean, think about it like this. How you going to have legacies and generational wealth with that shit? As much as black people talking about my legacies and generational wealth, since I brought that to the damn table and beat that like a dead horse, that now the whole goddamn internet is saying legacies and generational wealth. Everybody running around saying it, don't even know what the fuck they talking about. Legacies and generational wealth. I got my legacies and generational wealth. And your kids is spread all over the place. You're going to have fucking multiple baby mamas fighting over who gets what at the funeral. My baby deserved. Well, I was married to him for the longest. Y'all bitches is just baby mamas. That don't mean nothing. I get this. I get that. That's even if he had anything. Oh, it's a fucking mess. And this is, again, Cam is not a poverty situation. We all know Cam's kids are not, financially suffering. You know what I mean? But when it comes to, his time, maybe they don't, because, if he's got them all living underneath the same roof, that is slightly different, but it's still messy. They don't get to see their mom. They don't get to interact with their mom on a regular basis. I don't know why. I don't know why we did. And Cam ain't got no excuse. Nigga, you came from an intact 2-parent home. Your dad went to all your games, supported you, throughout. They're still together. Like, nigga, like this motherfucker came from my background. Like nigga. Shame on you. You know what I mean? I'm like, ain't this a bitch? Ain't this a bitch? Now I gotta listen to all the people. Yeah, CP, just because you come from a 2-parent home, that don't mean nothing. See, nigga, yeah, you can have dysfunction come from any type of home. Just trying to make the exception swallow the rule. You know what I mean? Like those people that are like, yeah, Bill Gates dropped out of college and look at him now. Like them niggas. You know what I mean? Jeff Bezos, he dropped out. I don't even know if he dropped out. I think he dropped out. Yeah, I mean, just look at him now. So everybody their rules of school should be dropping out, because if they drop out, they're more likely to become a millionaire, right? Or a billionaire. But I don't know what the fuck is going on with my voice. My shit is fucked up. Probably from all this goddamn yelling and shit. But anyway, I'm done. I promise I'm done. That's my video, SWP. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.